Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video here on Herzography. I'd like to talk to you about what you carry with you when you're out shooting, because I've seen a lot of different videos where the photographer who is out shooting has nothing on them. You know, they're carrying their camera, maybe they have their tripod or it's already set up, and then they are shooting, which is great, and moving from one area to the next, but where are the little extra things that we kind of need when we are shooting? Do you keep them in your backpack, which is definitely fine if you want to do that, and just have your backpack right below your tripod and you're reaching back and forth into your backpack to, let's say, get a cleaning cloth or maybe to get a filter or things like that. Or if you're out and you are scoping out an area, do you carry your backpack with you? You just set it down and start walking around, but all of a sudden you need something and you have to go back to your backpack. So, you know, you can do that, and that's just fine. I've done that on and off, but I have found bending over into my backpack all the time to pick up things. And if there are things that I use frequently, I sometimes would stuff them into my pocket. I actually bought pants that have pockets everywhere. And then I found that it was just getting very difficult to walk around with all these different things in my pockets. So I've tried a couple of different things. One is this vest. I'll link it below. This is from the hat company called Tilley. And it is a beautifully made vest. You know, little hook here. It's got nice Velcro pockets, zipper pockets, so that you don't make as much noise. If you're doing wildlife photography, there's nothing worse than doing one of these things and having that Velcro tab just kind of scare everything away, but it does have a lot of Velcro. So sometimes what I would do is put the flaps inside, so that way these pockets would just stay open. But it has great pockets inside, and I don't think there's one on the back on this one, but still really well made, a nice material. I found that the vest would start to get heavy. You start to load it up with different things, and you know, half the year I'm shooting and it's summertime. It gets very hot, hard to always look to put on a vest, even over a t-shirt, because of the heat. So then I started to take things out, put them in my pockets, and that wound up having the whole thing with pants with all these different things stuck everywhere in all these different pockets. Mind you, I do that sometimes if I'm just out for a very quick walk, but then I'm kind of left with, every time I go on a walk, I'm having to wear those same pants because I don't unload them afterwards. And look at that, I think I found something already that I left in this vest that, yeah, my little Band-Aids that I'd like to keep with me wherever I go. So it's hard to switch back and forth, you know, if you're using pants. Once again, you might want to dip down into your backpack every single time you need something. That's not really for me. So the vest was, you know, it was a nice investment. I have used it on and off, but I haven't used it in a while because I've transitioned over to this bag. And this one is by ThinkTank Photo. And this bag is the Speed Demon V 2.0. I believe it's still made, and I will put a link to it in the show notes below. But a great bag. It's got a nice little Velcro pocket on the very back, which I keep a cleaning cloth in. I like the fact that they put hooks on both sides, and so that way I can keep a carabiner, put a water bottle on either side, always necessary when you're out in the field and you don't know for how long. Put an emergency whistle on this side just in case, and it comes off real easy as long as a quick little tool. So That's kind of the outside. Now, one of the things that I also like about this bag is that if it's raining or it's all zipped up, I don't have to undo both of these zippers to get into it. It has a very quick access right on top. And this zipper, not sure if you can see it, but it is weatherproof. It is waterproof. And that's a nice addition. A great grab handle right here makes it a little bit easier that when I go to take it off, I unbuckle it, but I grab it by this handle on the front. It also makes it nice that if I'm going into a bathroom or someplace, that I can just hook this onto my carabiner, which I carry with me, and let it hook off of a handle and not put it on the floor. Anyways, so let's take a look at what I keep in the front pocket. Okay, so in the front pocket, a number of things. I keep this little tool that has a number of different things on it. This was from Leo Photo, and I keep a sensor brush. This one is from Maven Filters. A pencil. A pencil is really handy. I never keep a pen of any type unless it has a cover, because pens will leak, and they'll leak when you don't want them to. So I carry a mechanical pencil in here, and in the front, inside, I'm not sure where it is, I have a notepad, so I'll go through all that. But my pencil is right here. I have this multifunction tool. This one's from Really Right Stuff. I believe that this was copied by Leo Photo. I believe they have one, with all the different connectors that you might need. So I will put a link to that. I just find that having something like this, you're always assured of having everything. And just for backup on that, I've got this cute little multifunction tool set, which is real handy, real easy to use. And this one here is from Small Rig. So there's a lot of different ones out there. For a number of different purposes, I keep a really nice, bright flashlight. And of course, you get somewhere, we one time got back to the parking lot, there was no moon and it was pitch black and there were no lights. Having a flashlight is indispensable to have with. Besides, and you'll see this in another video of mine on how I show to use even just a flashlight to do some light painting when you're doing some photography, especially maybe some close-up work. So really handy to have a good bright flashlight. This one I believe uses batteries. They have new ones out now that are rechargeable that I highly recommend, because it's always good to have a battery backup in your bag. In this front pocket, I have Zeiss lens wipes. Bought a whole box of them at Costco, very inexpensive and very handy when you just need a quick clean. So that is what I have in there in the front. Right now, nothing in the very front pocket, but still available. Now let's take a look at what is in the main compartment. Oh, by the way, on the sides here, it does have some nice padding and also some extra areas to hook things on. So hooks and a bigger hook. Normally on these side wings, I will keep my filters. This is a fairly large one from MindShift. I keep a lot of filters in here, and this will, because of this particular bag that I have for my filters, it will just Velcro right onto the hook onto the side here. All right, so let's take a look and see what is in the bag. Now, of course, this is kind of ongoing. I do change this up a lot depending upon where I'm going, what I'm shooting, and what I might need. if I was going out and I'm shooting flowers, then I'll probably keep a little water bottle in here. This little water bottle is not for spraying on plants. This is lens cleaner that I do take with me sometimes. Also in here is my ThinkTank wallet, and in this ThinkTank wallet are spare batteries and spare memory cards, as well as business cards. And I keep this on a cinch lock that is from Lightwear. If I need to keep this with me a little bit closer, I can always cinch this right around my belt. But for the most part, since I'm wearing my bag, I'm just going to keep it in here. And one of these batteries is really nice because it charges with USB-C. Wow, that is pretty amazing. So I keep that in here. A little package of tissues, because you never know when you just need to dry off something real quick. Okay, the next item in here is, of course, a lens cleaning cloth. I've talked about this particular brand before that I really like. This is called the Magic Cleaner from Visible Dust. Great cloths. I've been using them for so many years, and I always keep a number of those with me. Actually, that one in the bag, and then I keep a backup one on the outside of my bag. Went over what I have in this compartment. In the center compartment right now, I am holding my Maven ring light that you've probably heard me talk about. And this is great because this will just pop onto any of my lenses, because they all have an 82mm magnetic adapter ring on them. Or I always carry this ring, so that way if I'm going to do a little phone photography and I want to get a little extra, a little lighting there, I keep that handy with me all the time. It's very light, and once again, USB-C charging, so that makes it very convenient. I know this is old-fashioned. You're going to probably ask me, why do I carry a manual compass? Well, I carry a manual compass because I use my phone for a lot of things. And if I'm using it for doing a video or something, and then all of a sudden I need to check direction for some reason, I like to have a manual compass. It is just, you know, the phone can only be used for so many things at the same time. Sometimes I'll use my watch, but, you know, for reliability, I have found there's nothing like having just a good old manual compass in my bag. So I've gotten used to that, and I find it very handy. Now, here's something that I'm not sure if any of you would have this, but I have started using this. We used to, back when we used to use rangefinders that didn't have a telephoto viewfinder in it, but we might have been using telephoto lenses, that we had to use another tool. And this is really handy because this little magnifier will give me an approximation to somewhere around a 400 or 500mm lens. So I can put this up or give it to an assistant, say, and I'll look around. Like, let's say you're in the desert, you're over in Death Valley, or maybe someplace else, and you're seeing something, but you're not sure how it'll look by putting on your telephoto lens. Sure, you can go to your bag, pull out your telephoto lens and put it on and take a look. That's great. If you're doing that, wonderful. But I can pull this out, take a look and say, yeah, that's a really nice composition. So let me go ahead and get set up with my camera and lens. I wish it was a zoom. This is just a single focal length, so I'm always on the lookout for something like that. But in the meantime, this will just help get me in the ballpark if it's something that I really want to get set up and start shooting in that area. USB-C to USB-C cable, always handy to have to be able to charge the light as well as the camera. So at least one of those in your bag. I do have this magnifier. Now, why do I have this magnifier in here? I don't use it with the Z8. I don't need it with the Z8 because the Z8 has a beautiful electronic viewfinder. But sometimes I'm shooting with my Nikon Z30s out in the field, and the Z30 does not have an electronic viewfinder. They left that off. So this is the case where I'm going to put this right up against the back of the screen because in really bright light, the back of the screen of the Z30 is just not worth anything. You can't see anything in bright sunlight on the back of that camera. So you really need to have something like this. Do I carry it all the time? Usually, if I have both cameras, if I'm just shooting with the Z8, then I will leave this behind. And as I mentioned before, my little notepad that goes with my pencil in the front, so that way I can take notes just to make sure, even though the Z8 does do great voice memos, which is a great feature, many of the other cameras do, sometimes I just like to write down and sketch out maybe a certain area and why I'm shooting there and make some notes that way, just good old-fashioned paper. It looks like the last thing that I carry in here is my color checker. And the color checker has a lot of uses. I will definitely do a full video on this, on how I use it for landscape photography, why many times I don't use it. But there are certain cases where the color checker is really nice to have. And I'll explain that all in another video coming up real soon. And it looks like there is another little pocket here on the side, which you can see from up top there. Actually, I'm not sure if you can, so let me just go ahead and put this on. And you can see here, there is another pocket that is Velcroed here. Probably put some just important papers that I might put back in there that I don't need to access very often. So maybe that's giving you a better look of inside the bag while I have the video light on, the different things that I'm keeping in each compartment in here, as well as the front. And that way you can see everything that I have up in there. So why do I wear this? Hopefully you'll see everything that I have in here. Makes it kind of evident why I like to keep these things. I like to keep these things at hand. I don't want to have to reach down in the backpack every time I need to grab a cleaning cloth or some filters that I have attached to the side. Many times I take the polarizers and neutral densities out and I'll just put them inside the bag. It makes it very easy to do with the Maven filters because I can just stack them together like this, put a front and rear cap on them, and drop them in my bag. And then because of the color coding and the tactile finish on all of these, I know exactly which one I'm choosing. If it's blue, I know it has something to do with polarization, or it's a polarizing filter, or the neutral densities all have different colors. And I know that if I pull this one out, I can see right away that there are 4 notches. So I know it's a 4-stop neutral density versus the other ones, like here's a 3-stop and a 2-stop. And you can tell by the notches as well as the colors. So having these filters just being able to go right in my bag like that, it gives me access to it without having to go back and forth to my backpack. In this center compartment, many times what I'll do, and let me just move a couple of things around, and I'm going to take a cleaning cloth and putting it on the bottom. So one of the things that I do like to do is that depending upon where I am and what I am shooting, I might have an extra lens in here. And this bag, of course, is more than capable of holding an extra lens or 2 or maybe another body, because it just makes it much easier for me that I'm out in the field and my backpack is over there somewhere. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, oh, you know what, I think I better change lenses. So I am going to, go like this, and yes, I'm out in the field, and I know this is probably not the best way of doing it, and put this lens on, take the other lens, and see there's no rear cap on it, but I put a cleaning cloth at the bottom so that I can set that in there and know that it's going to be okay, because it's got a very nice cleaning cloth, and if anything, it is just going to help keep the bottom element free from dust. So that way, if I need to change this again, I can with one hand go like this, put this back on here, and now take this lens and put it right in here. So the bag does make changing a lens, if you have to, without going up to your backpack, much easier to have that with you on your waist. It's always great to be able to have everything with you. I do it also. I try to take my backpack and maybe even clamp it to the center column or to the center apex of my tripod to give a little extra weight. So usually my bag is with me, but not always. If I'm out scoping and I see something and it's like, oh my gosh, that is really cool. Let me just get a couple of images of that. Oops, I got the wrong lens. But, I would have the other lens in here. Now, probably not the macro lens, even though I might, but since I've got the 24 to 70 here, I probably have my wide angle zoom in here so I can just switch back and forth between the two. So it's just another nice advantage of being able to use, a waist bag like this to have that capability at your fingertips. So this is just a great addition. It all zips up into a nice small bag that is easy to swing on my waist and swing behind me if I don't need it. Sometimes I've even been able to use it to put a camera on. If I didn't bring anything to set my camera on, I can just very quickly put this, take it off, put it on a rock, put it on the ground. If I didn't bring my platypod or smaller tripod, and this makes it very convenient to go ahead and get it settled nice and use this as a temporary little tripod. So a lot of great uses for having a bag like this on your waist. I highly recommend it. I know there's a number of different ones out there. Honestly, I've got a container out in the garage that's probably filled with another 10 or 15 different bags that I've used over the years. A lot of them I've started to sell, at garage sales, that I have found that this bag is the one that I've always gone back to, even after trying other bags. Anyways, thank you for watching this video, and if you have any comments, please put them below. I hope you'll give it a like, subscribe for new videos, and thanks again for being here. Bye for now.